You're like the is the new I don't like you. It's always okay when Trump. That.
He does have a point there. He most definitely has a point there. It's funny when it's the other side. Like I said, the pendulum has swung over here. You know what I'm saying? The pendulum swung and now swinging back. Bill Maher is another one of those guys, stand-up comedian, etc. And he went on his show and he talked about how cancel culture is over. Let's take a look.
And finally, new rule, liberals need a stand your ground law for cancel culture. So that when the woke mob comes after you for some ridiculous offense, you'll stand your ground. Stop apologizing. Because I can't keep up anymore with who's on the shit list.
I do understand what he's saying. It's interesting how we're in this place right now where the pendulum has been swinging on one side for a while. Now the pendulum is starting to swing back. And the funny thing is, it's starting to swing over to the left side. And now people are starting to have a problem with it even more because the lefties are starting to notice that all the people on the left are starting to get canceled too now. And they're going, what the hell? Wait a second. No. It's supposed to be over there. We ain't doing nothing wrong. But there also been things. There's also been things like this dude right here and other stand-up comedians or just comedians in general that have been on the chopping block almost every year, almost every month. It seems like every other month. It seems like there's a new speaker, comedian, whoever you wanted, actor, whatever, is up on the chopping block for whatever they may have done 17 some odd freaking light years ago. They get in trouble for those things, you know, even to this day. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue.
Now, lately, Republicans have been trying to appropriate the term cancel culture to describe what happens to them when they get a just comeuppance for actual crimes. And this muddying the water is unfortunate because cancel culture is real, it's insane, and it's growing exponentially, and it's coming to a neighborhood near you. If you think it's just for celebrities, no. In an era where everyone is online, everyone is a public figure. It's like we're all trapped in the hills have eyes and Wi-Fi. Take Mr. Emmanuel Cafferty. He was a San Diego gas and electric worker, but he got fired because someone reported him making a white supremacist hand gesture outside the window of his truck. But he's not a white supremacist, he's Latino. And he wasn't making a hand gesture, he was probably just flicking a booger. Is this really who we want to become? A society of phony, clenched asshole avatars? Walking on eggshells, always looking over your shoulder about getting ratted out for something that actually has nothing to do with your character or morals? Think about everything you've ever texted, emailed, searched for, tweeted, blogged, or said in passing, or now even just witnessed. Someone had a Confederate flag in their dorm room in 1990 and you didn't do anything?
Okay, so this is where things get a little hairy.
You laughed at a Woody Allen movie?
Facts.
Andy Warhol was wrong. In the future, everyone will not experience 15 minutes of fame, but 15 minutes of shame. And 62% of Americans say they have opinions they're afraid to share. 80% of Americans, young, old, rich, poor, conservative, liberal, white, minority, all hate the current atmosphere of hypersensitivity. Yeah, everybody hates it, and no one stands up to it. Because it's always the safe thing to swallow what you really think and just join the mob. So if someone asks you if Justin Timberlake owes Britney Spears an apology for not being a perfect boyfriend when they were teenagers, just say yes. Easy, as Justin did, issuing an abject apology and then vowing to return sexy back to where he found it.
I do think that the situation with Justin Timberlake, the Britney Spears Justin Timberlake thing, I do kind of find it a little unfair with Justin Timberlake. I think that they were both young. He's a superstar. She's a superstar. I think that they both went through some things that I think no child, no teenager will ever experience. You know, like he was the ultimate symbol, and she was the ultimate symbol, you know, in their time, and they were treated differently. I don't think that, I mean, of course, the right thing to do is to say what he said, what Justin Timberlake said. But at the same time, I do think that, like, they were young and stupid. They were children, for crying out loud. Isn't that the whole purpose of being a child and being young, is making mistakes and be dumb? Make dumb mistakes so you can learn to be a better person? Isn't that the whole purpose? You know what I mean? And you know what, Panda, you're right. And was being manipulated by everyone around him. Same thing with Britney Spears. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we're even talking about Britney Spears is beyond me. But at the same time, those people, like, they're young, they're dumb, they're controlled by so many different people that are pulling at their strings like a marionette. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you may be asking, why are we even talking about this now? Well, the New York Times did a documentary about Britney Spears. Really, the New York Times. What do you see the searing expose they have coming up on Pebbles? Anyway, in it, we find out that teenage Justin hadn't become a perfect person yet.
There you go.
And when asked if he had sex with the girl whose big hit was called I'm a Slave for You, said yes. What a cad. Although I truly believe any guy willing to wear matching outfits can't be all bad.
That is, I totally agree. Any man that's willing to do matching outfits with his girl should be praised. They should be treated like a national freaking treasure. I'm done now.
Now, as for a song called I'm a Slave for You, nothing? Is this some? The Mandalorian's Gina Carano is a person I'd never heard of and resent that I have now. She's some conservative wrestling chick who kicks ass on a show I wouldn't watch if I was in prison. And she made some Nazi analogy. Who doesn't these days? You're like the Nazis is the new I don't like you. It's always okay when Trump's the Nazi.
He does have a point there. He most definitely has a point there. It's funny when it's the other side. Like I said, the pendulum has swung over here. You know what I'm saying? The pendulum swung and now swinging back. And it's funny because you look at the other stuff and you go, remember that time? Remember that time when Trump was compared to to the H guy? You know what I mean? Remember that time? Remember that time? And now the pendulum is swinging right back over. And of course,
that disqualifies her for marching around planet who gives a shit in a helmet.
Facts.
By the way, you can't work in Hollywood if you don't believe what we believe. Yeah, in the 50s, that's exactly what the left complained they were being told. Now, the week before, it was Chris Harrison's turn in the barrel. He's the host of The Bachelor and is stepping away to educate himself on a more profound and productive level than ever before. Oh, good.
Yeah, that means him gone. Him
because
fired.
all my life, I've looked up to the host of the Fuck a Stranger show.
That is true.
And if I thought I couldn't count on The Bachelor for moral guidance, I don't know if I could go on. And of course, he's not stepping away because he's the host of a televised snake pit where 32 female contestants are trapped in the sorority house from hell.
Bruh.
It's because he wouldn't throw one of them under the bus when it came to light that in college he attended a dress-up-like-we're-in-the old South party.
Okay, real quick. Real quick. Yeah, he didn't have to defend her. Clearly, He did not have to defend her. But how he responded to the question was wrong. He responded to the question terribly. He was terrible when he answered that question. That was so bad. So, I don't give two damns about this part of what Bill Maher is saying right here. And of course, Bill Maher is completely entitled to his opinion. But homeboy, host of the, Bachelor, or Bachelorette or Bachelor, whatever the hell, had many opportunities to go in there and say the right thing. And he didn't. His response, or he could have asked his black friends. He probably doesn't have many, but at the same time, he could have gone to his one black friend and said, hey, what's the right thing to say? How should I approach this situation? How he responded, in my personal opinion, was very ignorant. That's why he is being canceled, or that's why he is being put away for a little while he figures out his life. That's the only reason why. It's how he responded to it. It's how he responded to it.
Which is not a type of party we should be throwing, in that it winks at a civilization built on slavery, yes. But apparently in 2018, millions of people were still doing it. And mature people understand humans are continually evolving, as
True.
opposed to Wokeville, where they're always shocked we didn't emerge enlightened from the primordial ooze. What's Chris Harrison supposed to do? Build a time machine, go back to 2018 and knock the mint juleps out of their hands? Maybe while he's time traveling, he can have a word with that asshole Abraham Lincoln, who's now canceled in San Francisco.
True.
And
he is.
They're thinking about it in Illinois.
That is true, too.
Yes, the land of Lincoln might cancel Lincoln.
I had to look that up, and that is very, very true. Illinois, the land of Lincoln, is thinking about taking out the land of Lincoln. They're thinking about taking down the name Lincoln out of the title. I don't know why. Personally, I don't get it. This is when I feel the woke, somebody conservative said the wokeology, the wokeness is going a bit too far. And when it comes to, and he's got a point about like going back in time and slapping that mint julep out of that girl's hand and saying, how dare you do this Southern party? By the way, those Southern parties still exist. Those Southern parties still happen, even in 2021. There are plenty of white people getting together and drinking, sipping those, mint juleps, pinky out, having a grand old time, and laughing like Tucker Carlson. Trust and believe. The entire time. Trust and believe. But there's nothing's going to change that. Those things are still going to be where they are until we change. And he's right with what he's saying, that we are evolving. We are evolving. Times do change. We can't go back in the past and dig up all the old stuff and just drag every person for everything that they did in the past that may have been socially more acceptable at that time. It may not be acceptable now, but at the same time, at that time, it was okay. What were you going to say, David?
I was going to say this isn't too surprising. We've been seeing, especially with a lot of the statue movement and stuff, people are generally not even aware of the statues they're trying to remove. I mean, at least one Lincoln statue has been removed. Several Frederick Douglass statues have been removed. You just kind of see this keep happening. It's the people that want to destroy all this stuff and cancel. These are usually not aware of what they're actually canceling or attacking. So sometimes they attack people like Frederick Douglass, who was very important to the black movement and political movement. So yeah, this doesn't surprise me. I normally don't agree with Bill Maher very much, but I do in this case, and I think he's mostly right. Yeah, I've always spoken out against censorship, and cancel culture is just kind of an extension of that. Not always, but in a lot of cases it is, especially these days.
Yeah.
So I agree with him.
And the other thing is, though, too, and I'm seeing Lady Justice said something, and I do agree with this part, too. I mean, she said, to me, 2018 wasn't long enough for me to feel like a person changed like Homegirl on Bachelor. And I do agree with that. I mean, it's only been 2-3 years, let's just say, because, I mean, we just turned the new year. You know what I mean? We just turned to 2021. You know, how much can you say that person really changed over the past of, 2.5 to 3 years? You know, oh, I'm not racist anymore because, that one time I did that thing and blah, blah, blah. Oh, I've changed so different now. I'm so different now. How do you know that person really changed? You know what I'm saying? I could sit here and say, like, okay, early 2000s, you're in some antebellum South, Southern Belle party. You know what I mean? Then it's 2021 and you're going, hey, it was 2000. It was a totally different era, a totally different time. I now know that it's wrong, but at that time I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be played or taken into consideration and respect. I feel like respected in a certain, or not respected, but taken into consideration and understood in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? But, when you start seeing things like, oh, Lincoln's canceled, or they're canceling Lincoln. You see what I'm saying? Those things don't make sense to me. With a girl who just happens to like a few photos on Confederate flags on them, or did something in the South. Like, she ain't my friend, so I ain't worried about her. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be real. I'm not going out of my way to be friendly with her and try to be all besties and stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel that we have to start progressing, but we also have to realize what has happened, but keep moving. It can't just turn into everyone gets canceled, everyone gets fired. No one is safe. You understand? Not one of us is safe when it comes to this cancel culture BS. Zero. We all have done stupid ass ish. We all have. It's only this is not going to, by canceling everybody, then we won't be able to do anything. But then it comes into play of the idea of freedom of speech, right? Being able to say what you want to say, how you want to say it. And there's a double-edged sword to that. Just because I hear somebody say something that I don't like, which I hear, like, welcome to our show, because that's what we hear all the bloody time, things that we don't like to hear. But unfortunately, that is part of that too. That's part of freedom of speech. It's the double-edged sword. There's the yin and the yang. And you can't all have yin and you can't all have yang. It has to be a balance. How are we supposed to be able to progress and to grow as human beings if we can't learn from our mistakes?
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.